Hi, my name is Chris. I'm an urban farmer from Singapore and I've been growing food for over 12 years. And today I'm going to be doing a video about why anyone can start a farm in 2025, even if you're living in a city. I myself have been surprised that I've actually turned urban farming into a career, but it didn't always start there. I didn't jump straight into it, trying to make a living out of it. There were very many different experiences I had, many detours, and I started out much smaller. And today I'm going to be sharing a little bit about how and why you can and should be an urban farmer. So starting with why should you grow your own food? There's been a show and a book recently called The Blue Zone, and in this show the author goes around the world and meets different people in different communities from places like Italy, and even Singapore, and they found that there is one common activity that cuts through all of these communities, and guess what? It is gardening. So, the act of gardening really helps to strengthen your physical well-being. These people, these communities didn't go to gym, they didn't go jogging, but through the act of gardening, it was low impact strength building. You're constantly squatting, you're constantly using your hands to use your tools, and there's also a very strong connection that you have with nature. You're being surrounded in this natural environment that helps you to relax and de-stress, and also connect to one another, your friends, your fellow gardeners. And the more that we move in this very intense, very stressful urban environment, I think people need an outlet to relax. They need an outlet to be grounded, and gardening is a great way to do that. And the thing about growing your own food has an additional element to the gardening process. Not only are you seeing your plants grow, but you're also looking forward to harvesting them. So there is a goal, a tangible output that you get out of this process. And I think it's very healing. And I think it's much needed in a rapidly urbanizing world where more and more people are moving away from the countryside to the city. But yet they're caught in this very difficult and stressful environment where cost of living and all these different stresses help to make it very stressful. So gardening is a very good option, and this is why you should grow your own food. Secondly, I want to share that there is no minimum skill or size to start your farm. I think we think of farmers and we think, you need to have like 2 hectares of land, you need lots of space, but I want to assure you that it doesn't have to be that way. Where I'm from, it's a city, it's very land scarce. Land is very expensive, so most people live in apartments. That's all they have. So my advice and recommendation is that it doesn't matter how small you start. It can even be just a tiny pot. That's all you need. You can grow something with a small pot. It could be a spring onion, it could be a pot of basil. It is not about the size of your plant. It is about how you journey along with this plant. It's about your journey ultimately. I've actually helped clients who live in homes or clients from schools, and when we built the edible gardens, they actually are too ambitious, and because things grow all year round in the tropics, plants grow very fast, and also weeds grow very fast. So the pests, it can be very overwhelming if your garden gets too overgrown and you can't manage it. So actually, it's very important and very helpful to start as small as you can, to do it really well, to build that confidence, and that comes with time, it comes with experience. And when you're confident and you feel like you want to take on more, you can, but don't let size be a limiting factor for you. Okay? Again, I want to remind you that we all live many of us, or most of us, live in cities, and we are busy, we have day jobs. I'm not asking you to be a commercial farmer to push out lots and lots of produce. I'm hoping that it's more about the appreciation of growing your own food that I'm advocating for. Thirdly, you don't have to be constrained by your location. Again, I want to remind you that I've made it possible doing what I do in a country with just 1% of farmland. That is like not even a speck in the whole country. It's literally a minuscule dot. But even then, I'm not even farming on that 1% of land. I'm actually utilizing the rest of the 99% of land where people's homes are, where people's schools, offices, hospitals are. Use your geographical location to your advantage. Look at that as a resource. In a country like ours where there is no land, but there is a lot of community spirit, there is a lot of people living in close spaces where if you do something, it is easy for you to spread the word, for people to be involved and engaged in something. So when we do hold workshops, for example, we have the ability to connect people who usually don't do gardening. Yeah, you don't need to think so big. All you need is any space. Just get a pot, get some soil, throw in some plants and seeds, and you're good to go. Another thing about your geographical location is also the physical environment. There is often a misconception about how things are not suitable for your plants. And for example, in a tropical country like ours, people think that sun is shining all day long and therefore it's too hot. The plants are going to get sunburned. So that is not true because many of the edible plants, they love the heat, they love the sun, and you can grow a lot more variety of things with this environment. So use that to your advantage. If you come from a country that has a lot of rain, monsoon seasons, yes, there could be some plants that struggle with it because the rain could cause the soil to be waterlogged. But on the flip side, it could also be very beneficial for some plants that love the water. There are some aquatic plants that naturally grow in lakes and ponds, and finding those varieties, putting them in the wet environment is a perfect fit for them. If you have a cold country that have winters, yes, even though the days are shorter, but there are opportunities to still grow food. You can warm the place up with a greenhouse. You can protect your plants from the snow. You can use heaters. There's many options for you, and you can grow plants that you cannot grow in the tropics, things that require the cold season. For example, garlic, that requires you to grow them through winter. And if you live in a space that does not have space at all, like you say, okay, Chris, yes, that's all very fine and well, but I don't even have a light, I don't even have a window. I live in an apartment that has no access to any of this. Don't worry, the technologies exist today. They've been existing for a while now. You can even grow stuff indoors without light. You can use artificial grow lights to help to supplement the lighting conditions. Otherwise, there are other things that you can grow. You can grow mushrooms. Mushrooms do not need light. You can rear fish. You can rear insects. Yeah, so there's lots of different things. I've been to people's homes where they grow their own chickens and have their own fresh eggs. So the possibilities are endless, and it's all about having that creativity and desire to want to start and do something about it. And the last point I want to make is about there is not a single path that you need to take to be a farmer. Again, you don't have to have the impression that you have to become a commercial farmer, you have to get an income from it. We live in a very flexible and interesting and dynamic world. So if I were to group two kinds of growers, right? They're from the community level to the commercial level. So community growers, people like hobbyists who want to challenge themselves to grow very interesting varieties of produce, tomatoes, cucumbers. They like the challenge and difficulty of doing something that is hard to do. You could be maybe a mom with a young family, with young children, and you want to grow the best food and best produce for them to be nutritious, to eat well, to stay healthy. It is all possible. You know, you can be an entrepreneur who wants to see this as an opportunity to supply restaurants, hotels, some high-end produce, right? So there's many things that you can do in a city. Very often, the reality is that being a commercial farmer in an urban area is very difficult because of the high cost of land, and also it doesn't allow the economics to work out very well for you. But the fact that so many people are doing it, myself included, is because that we find value in other ways. We help to share and provide knowledge to people through workshops, you know, through engagements. We share experiences, you know, making things very fun and exciting and interesting programs or projects overseas. That is also how I started. I actually went on a program called Woofing, where I volunteered on a farm in Australia. You can do this anywhere around the world. There are memberships that you can sign up for. So you can get work experience on a farm even if you have no experience, and you get paid by accommodation and food. And there are similar programs around the world today. So you don't have to quit your day job. Don't fret. You can, you know, find ways to be involved in farming on the site. Maybe on the weekends you can go volunteer at a local urban farm. There's just so many opportunities for you. So don't think that you have to jump all the way in, neck deep into this and take all the risks that you need. Okay. So ultimately, to sum it up, I feel that growing your own food in a city is something that's super, extremely important. Not only is it good for our bodies, our minds, you know, we are also building our food resilience, and at the same time, you know, we're bringing people together. And I think it's a very nice thing to do, to be able to participate in this movement. So yeah, if you feel encouraged and inspired by it, why not start somewhere? Start really small, even if it's a small place, a small pot. Yeah, just start. So happy growing.